Let's see if it works. An error occurred. That's not good. Delete this one. Connecting. Let's see if this works. I'm connected to all and things. What happened? It's not. This one working my channel. My streaming key. No. Maybe like this. Let me look at this. Is something working? Aha. Maybe like this. I hurt myself, so that is great. Let me see if other things are working as well. If not, then I'm just going to put it on YouTube. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Fail to connect to server. Interesting. So that one works, but this doesn't. Interesting. Okay. But one of them works. So let's see if we can do this. Hello everyone. Hello my little jellyfish. Welcome to a stream. Has been a long time. I really want to do this. Let's see if we actually can get this working. I see there's a lot of latency, so just gonna wait for a bit, just so maybe we'll catch up. Internet should not be that bad around here. So I wonder if it's just the webcam or not. But we'll see, we'll see. just heard something. What's going on? That's Humble Bundle. That sounds interesting. Okay. But yes, I am live today. It's going to be very irregular. So if you catch me right now, you're lucky. I want to stream more, but life is getting a bit in the way. So let's just hope that things are getting up from now on. I want to have something differently. Put that one there so I can reach that better. So. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to do another watercolor. I'm not sure which one yet. So if you're in here and you have a specific thing that you like, let's comment on that. And if I choose one and you really want one, another live stream or another video, please tell me in the comments. That would be great. We have right now some kind of rat, jelly rat, I think I wanted, with some gems. These are sketches. I'm going to redraw them on the good quality paper. I've got a crow flying into some blossoms. I've got this one, which is very cute. It's a calf. It's a calf snapped. Also another name for snapdragon. Got a more Art Nouveau style kind of animal. It's called a nurse and has buttercups. Got that one. And we got one of the more famous slang recipes when it comes to like old witchy recipes. It's called Eye of Newt, which is basically mustard seeds. And I grew a newt and mustard seeds. That's a nice sketch. We've got a more edgy one, which is Vinca is a flower of death. So I got that one. Oh, there's something there. I also have a self-portrait, or at least the best way I could draw myself, a bit more in a classical art style, which I want to portray with that one. And I got a more old one that I'm not really sure of, which is this one, which is Primrose. There's primroses on it. So I've got those. I'm not sure which one to work on right now. Also, I am trying to decide if I should go with this format or the bigger format. Let me just keep this all calm and nice. I want to be sure that I know what's going on here. There we go. Got my hydration going. So yeah, so I am struggling with life, but you know, everyone is. From time to time, not always, but from time to time. And I'm trying to get some workouts. I'm working out and get some workout to, you know, relax a bit, have a bit of fun. Well, I'm also trying to get, like, this house back in order. As you can see, the walls still are not the greatest. I don't think I want to do the self-portrait today. This is nice. I need to get some references though. The nude is also fun. No. This one's really cute. This is an old one. You can see by the yellowing paper. Don't like how I got this, so I need to redraw that a lot. And these are just fun. Don't want to do that one. This is just one that I don't like. I'm thinking about the crow or the mice. I also need to get some references for mice. Pretty sure. You know what, let's do the mice. Let's do the mice. Put these ones away. I've got a big kind of folder where I put everything. I have everything labeled. So if I want a particular, for example, I want fantasy, then I grab here and I get this one. I also have one specifically for dragons. This one. It's in the dragon file. I have a lot of food and drink kind of stuff. This is probably sticker related. I like this one as well. It's really cute. Probably sticker related. Go down that far. Sticker. That one there. Okay. And this is the latest that I did. Once it's dry, I put it in here. So I've got it somewhere, you know? Okay, let's try this one. I'm going to put it on the pegboard, so it's not in the way of anything. I have more room here. I'm going to use my phone to get some references. Usually use just Pinterest. Red. Be very careful not to have any AI shit, so just need like a good picture. There we go. Oh yeah, so I really like this setup, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's a great setup. I love it so much. Let me put my, I'm getting something in my throat. There we go. There. Okay. Let's first do something about the outline. So I know how big I want my rats to be. I want to have a little bit of an Art Nouveau style, which means some curls, some more geometrical shapes, but it will usually frame whatever it is the subject. The sketch that I had, I'm not really satisfied with it. but I'm going to work on that. Also going to head into this. I'm going to leave like a centimeter. And I'm not doing exact things, not doing exact sports, right? Just going to, like if I was a centimeter in there. Just want to frame this. I do like the frame in a way that I want to get this here. I also have, ever since I've rediscovered this one, I've used it in almost every painting, just to have some neat little circles, because I can draw my own circles. Make it a bit smaller. So we have the one here. Oh. The outline of this one here. Big one there. There. I'm going to touch that on here. I'm going to freeform it there. Also going to freeform it. Just have a little natural curve that you put on with your elbow. There. So that's the corner done. Also, I have a very messy kneadable eraser that I probably need to replace because this one is very chewing gummy, let's say that. It feels very much like chewing gum. I think it's getting too old. So we have that little nook there. And while we have that, I'm going to do here, here, there. And then extend this one. There. So that's one part. Let's turn it around, shall we? You don't need to do everything the same. That's the beauty of Art Nouveau, because it has its basis in nature. Everything is naturally occurring. There are a couple of things that are repeating, so that's the mathematical things, but you don't have to be all nitty-gritty and everything has to be perfect or symmetrical. If you do everything symmetrical, you are more into Art Deco kind of pictures. So we're going to do something else. We're going to make a little half circle here. I'm going to make another circle here. I don't remember how big this one was. It doesn't matter. Let's put that one. a little bit tighter like this. A little bit of a scratchy there. And then I'm gonna do the same. We're going to reach here, have kind of a moon drop here, like this. Ooh, my palm really itches. Let's do a big leaf here, and then put that one there, and then there. And we extend this. There. Yep. I'm going to put some extra things here. So that's the lower side, this is the upper side. Of course there is something missing here, so we're going to do, just to fill in this space. And I think this particular bit is a bit boring, so we're going to make a little bit of a swoosh. And we can, there, so it connects again. This is going to be left open, this is going to be left open. It's already implying a full frame in that way. Okay, let's get to the rat bit. I have 2 rats. So we can do one here and we can do one here. We can do it yin yang style, which I kind of like. So we're going to do very slight divide here, but it won't be, I think the one thing that I want in the middle is the big crystal. So we're going to make, a bit of a mass, not a mess, a mass. So here. This is going to be the crystal, right? So we have a crystal here. Little outburst there. There. Let me just rinse with crystal. There. In order to have the yin-yang effect, you need to distribute the weight on both sides equally. So that means that if you put reds on top, then you need to balance it out with something underneath. So if I have a very big red here, I need to make a very big red there. Otherwise, it doesn't look equal. The same with this little crystal that I'm making. Let's put more crystals in here. Make a simple one there. The lovely thing about crystals is that usually they are very dynamic. You can make whatever crystal you want. So if I turn it around, you can see that this part is heavier than this part. So I need to balance it out by going here. Maybe have a little bit of there. There. Also erase this. Okay, now for the red part. So one was really on top. Let's put the outline, the dynamic line of action in here. So I think the face should be here. There's a paw there. There should be a paw there. And then there's a tail that I can experiment with. Then the other one. So there's an open space here, so I think what I like is go about the same one there. But I'm going to that one here, and then get a little bit of a butt there, so they don't look the same. So if you want to look at the tail of this one would be nice if I would turn it like that. If I would, let's put it in front. Let's put that in there. And the other one, let's put that on the back in there. So now we have the idea of the two rats. Let me just erase this before I forget. There we go. Okay, let's enlarge my reference for the face because I want to get this one. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not doing realistic stuff. So we're going, there is a flat part. We're going there. There is a little nosy here. Little nose. Then there is this smile. There. If you put that smile here, then there is a teardrop like eye. Let's sort of draw in that one. Then if you go here, there is an ear. There, we could put that one there. That looks a very happy rat. Get rid of those extra lines that we don't need anymore. It's gonna be there. And there is another ear here to have that a bit more accurate. Then we go here. There's a little dip here, and only then there is a back. Let's put it a bit more ergonomic there. Let's get the paw right. So this paw is a bit weird. So red can have a little bit of an elbow. So it's gonna be like here. And then the rest is hidden behind the other parts. I do want to have another claw there. There. And we make this a little sharper. There. Okay. Other rat. A little bit of other reference for that one. Put that one there. So we have have here, there is a nose there. There is an eye here. I do like that. Then we have the ear here. Doesn't necessarily have another ear on the other side, so that's okay. Do want to have to add the little chin there. Let's give him a bigger booty. There we go. He can have a bit of a booty. There. And that had a little bit of it. Of his, her, them. There. There, that's what I like. So let's put the shine on there. Which means the sun is, or the light source is coming from here, like here. I usually do that. I don't know, it's something that I do naturally. I like the sun coming from the right, upper right. Let's see. Let's try to get this a bit sharper. This is already going very small. Okay, so now we have the red. We have the gem, but it's a bit empty. So I'm going to add what I usually add. I'm going to add some stars, some circles. I'm gonna add some stuff. What I just realized that I want is to have a little circle. Why you use it like this? To have a little circle around the heads of these rats, which you normally see at Art Nouveau style. I want them to be the same, so I'm going to see just a little bigger. There we go. Like that one. Oh, sorry. And then I'm going to do a little bit smaller. Trying to get them the same hole I created. That looks really cute. Let's just turn it around to see how this works, because of this, the weight of this part is different from this weight. If you can look, if you see, there's an open space here, there's less open space here. So that means that there needs to be something around here to even this out. If you like it, don't have to, but I think I need to do this also. I need to, there. I think I'm going to I think I'm just going to add some extra diamonds here. Not as much as I did in the sketch. I'm not going to do any diamonds here. I'm just going to do them more like here and here. And put one here. Also going to put one here. And then that one. I'm also going to put a diamond here. There. So how does the balance look now? Pretty okay. I think that is great. And the only thing I need now, also, this is ugly, there we go. I think I need to add some circles, and I do this purely because it looks nice, because it is something that makes the picture a little bit more intense. But I don't do it on the subject. I don't want to do that. Also, I need to do something within these circles. I like to do that, but let's just add some circles here. So I start at the middle and I end at the middle. Do I want a circle here? I want a circle there. I think because they look a little bit like dewdrops that I want those. Also going to, I find that there is a lot of room here, so I'm going to just do some here. It doesn't have to be too intense, but it's nice to have something. Also, I need to get that crystal a bit more interesting. There we go. Okay. One thing that I did not draw yet are the whiskers, which I think I want to do in white. So I'm not gonna draw them in right now. What do I want to do with the inside? If we go from here, go here, go. Just draw it in. I do like it. Don't have to be the same, so. I'm going to add diamonds here. There was one missing. I'll get another. There. I think this is the final piece. And if you're wondering, like, why do I sketch first and later redraw, this is the reason. I usually have an idea and I want to draw that out, and then I sit on it and you get something completely different but in the same theme, in the same idea. Also, these look a little bit different from the rest that I drew right now, which is fine, but just so you know. So, I got this one. There. So the sketch is done. Took me a little while. Let me just be carefully get it off the rest. There we go. Almost an hour. Let's see, 45 minutes. There we go. We need tape. Put that one in there. My elbow hurts. Also, I just saw that it wasn't in a nice position for you guys. Let me just... There. Put that one. I'm going to need that one somewhere else anyway, so put that one there. 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 My elbow hurts a lot because I have been going to the gym lately, which is very good, of course, but I overdid my bicep curl, which kind of is really annoying. Which made a couple of my bicep muscles scream in pain, apparently. And now my elbow hurts. Okay, that's the one. De-stick it because lately the paper is not happy. If I don't de-stick it, then there is a chance that the paper will go with the tape, which is not what I want. did this one. Let me get a little bit of a drink before I do this. There. I also need this one. This is my little test booklet. You can use it for normal watercolor, but for me it's a test booklet. So I can just scribble whatever paint on there and see how it will look. So I'm going to use my Van Gogh paints, maybe some Meeden, but usually Van Gogh. Also, let me clean up stuff. There. A lot of people don't clean up their palettes because they like how things get muddled. But I really don't want that. Sometimes you can get really nice results, and if you have a good mixture, then you don't want to get rid of that because you can always re-wet the paint and reuse it. But for me, this paint is not a color that I will reuse very soon. And I am much more a person who likes to work in layers and work it there. There we go. Get some clean palettes in. There. A little bit of the thingy there. Get rid of this one. And get rid of this one. There. I'm right-handed, so there. So I've got a few colors. Also, my white is seriously getting deleted. Also, my yellow is very muddy. I've got a special pot to clean my brushes. I got this pipette. I do not remember where it was originally for, but it's really useful for just picking up water and putting it somewhere. I've got this piece that is very, it's kind of a sponge. It's very useful. But first I'm going to use this one together with this one, because I want some white outs. I'm going to use this particular one, not a particular reason for the color, I just chose that one before and now I'm going to use it again. Put in some of these drawing gum or masking fluid, and this was the worst pencil that I had, so I'm now using it to draw on the thing. I also have dotting tools, but I realized last time that I really like just to use this. It's a little bit more precise than the dotting tool. So now this is blue. And this particular drawing gum is not my favorite. I think when this one is finished, when I have used it all up, I'm going to buy a different brand, because this particular brand that I have sometimes takes the paper with it, and I can't use it in layers, so it just picks up the layer under it. Together with picking up the paper, it's just not workable for this art that I want to do, so I need another one, another brand. But I'm also not someone who wants to just throw away stuff, especially things like this. It's very toxic stuff. I can not just throw this in the garbage. So I'd rather just... Little hair? Where did you come from? Oh, good enough. I don't want to throw this in the garbage. Another hair. I have two cats, so it might come from them. They're not allowed in here, but those hairs go everywhere. Dip, 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 dip. I might have just overdid the amount that I just put in there, but that's okay. Wash it off there, but you cannot completely wash it off, so this one is ruined. Like for normal painting, this one cannot be used anymore. Oh, hi buddy, I love your art, thank you. Of course. Thank you for coming to the stream. How are you? Are you an artist yourself? Let me just let this dry. I love how you put so much work into your art. Oh, thank you. I do. This is actually an interesting question, because some artists can make great works of art within like an hour or like 2 hours. Other artists work on the same kind of piece, like with the same mastery, for days. So which artist is better? Is there a better? You just love watching art? Oh, that's very cool. But yeah, you know, as an artist, I am usually watching other people work on things, and there was this trend, at least on like shorts, that was like, I put like 100 hours into this piece, or it took me 365 days to finally finish this piece, and those works are, you know, amazing. And I always think like, how much work is really into that piece that you can see, and how much of those hours are for the artists themselves because they saw a flaw or they saw something that they didn't like and just kept on like refining details, refining everything. Because usually those pieces of art that they show are massive, like big paintings, and I'm like, I do not see those 300 hours you put in there. And if there's someone who's like, I took 10 hours to do this and it looks almost exactly the same, that's just an interesting thing to be there, to see how that works. I usually take like 4 hours, maybe 6 hours for one piece, and just A4 piece usually. And I think that's a lot. Just to imagine like working on one piece for like 3 days in a row, like 8 hours a day, that's just a lot. Maybe if I would draw like realistic, maybe that will be that. And like you say, buddy, it's just how people, different styles, but there are styles that require, for the same type of look, require less hours. It's just what the artist sees in that. Let me see. Oh, this is not, it's not yet dried yet. Just want to, just going to look at this. Because sometimes I want a light background, sometimes I want a dark background. What is my favorite thing to paint and like to paint with? My favorite thing, so like themes wise, are a combination of plants and animals. And also fantasy. So I just have like a lot of stuff in here. Going to show this here. So for example, this is an apple, this is a skull, this is coffee, this is, oh, this is sticker like thing. Also, I have a couple of portraits that are like, you know, not really fond of this one. This is the latest one that I've done. But if you go into the animals and into fantasy, if I can put this one back, there are a lot of more things. It's really cool art, thank you. So you can see the details that I put with cats. This is one of my first ones. I actually turned this one into in the cover of my iPad. I actually, my mother discovered a site where you could do that, so I did that one. I made this one, if you are on YouTube, I put this one as a banner. So I've got a lot of animals and a lot of plants. So basically nature, but in a fantastical way. That's my favorite thing to do. Also here, even with objects, there are flowers, there are frogs, there are a lot of different things. There's a candle with, this was very experimental for me. Objects. And right now, my absolute favorite, because we only do traditional art or digital too. I did a lot of digital art, but for some reason, my my energy gets bigger when I do, or not traditional, when I do physical art, and it depletes when I do digital art, even though I like them both. So I like to do a lot of fantasy art as well. I actually made games based on my digital art. They were fan games for friends of mine, so they're not that popular, but I just realized that it depletes my energy, while if I do this, I actually get a lot of energy. So that's the main difference. I also do a lot of animation if I have the energy for it. I love animating as well, because bringing things to life is so great. But yeah, that takes energy, and this gives energy. For example, like this is my all-time favorite for now, just because how it turned out. It's so cute, it's so whimsical, it's surfish, it's great. There's a little hedgehog. The only art I do is like pixelated or cartoonish, which is also very nice. This is a turtle with a pomegranate, and this is a very derpy cat with a fish. So I like fish. Where is my fantasy there? But I do love pixel art as well. I'm not that great at pixel art because it's very limited for me. but the ones that I see, for example, I usually follow the Twitch of oh wow, what's his name? Let me try. Let me watch that. Wait a second. I'm in his Discord. Let me see. Was yeah. So was art who made the pixel art for Shovel Knight. Like amazing stuff. He makes amazing stuff, and the people who are in his Discord also amazing pixel art. I love that. I need to make more dragons. I like dragons. I have one horror thing. This is very. If you know David the Gnome. I actually made that one as a fan art. I can't sell this because it's David the Gnome is kind of under copyright. And these are further sketches that I have. I only found this channel today, but I subscribed. Sadly, I have to go for dinner. I'll definitely watch your channel again. Bye, and have a great day. And so, as they say in the Netherlands, eet smakelijk. Have a nice dinner. And thank you for subscribing, by the way. I really appreciate it. I'm planning to do a lot more, even though I'm not as frequent on YouTube as I was before. Is this... Okay, it has hardened, so I can work on this. Yeah, so I love a lot of different kinds of art. I don't really mind different styles. The only art that I cannot understand are certain kinds of abstract art. My favorite kind of art is surrealistic. I adore realistic and hyper-realistic art. I can't do that, even though I've tried. I'm not at that point yet that I can do hyper-realistic art, even though I want to. But I like this kind of fixated art. Well, let me get my reference up for the rats, so I have a little bit of an idea what color I want to give them. But certain types of abstract art I just don't understand. Performance art is something I don't understand, and that's a shame. Also, they're actually jelly rats. Do I want to give them realistic fur or not? And if I say they're jelly rats, the idea was jelly rats. I actually think I'm going to make them more realistic, just so the crystal will come out a lot more clear. The background now. Let me wet the background. Let me make that a little bit easier for myself. Just wet that nice and clean. Just have that imaginary frame there. Have a little bit of water on here. If I make those reds like a brown kind of yellow, then the background would be best the opposite. So more of a dark purplish color. I think I'm going to do that because then I can work with that. I think I'm going dark blue and purple. I have this granulating color which is a dusk purple. I'm going to do the first layer with that. I'm just going to get that in there. Not going too harsh, and I want to have a little bit of a variation. I can always darken later. And again, have that little border here. So I only wetted the parts that I want to color in now. There. Just displace some of this water so it's getting more granulated in that way. There. Drop it. There. Have a little bit of a swirl. So, and because I use the masking, it is actually not a problem that I go over all this. Get that little imaginary border here. Just need to be careful with those tail ends because I want those tails to, you know, be visible. So I'm going to deepen the edges here because I want to have a little bit of a border. And that one there. This edge gonna be a bit darker too. Just work it in. Just make it. There's a lot of granulating going on in here. There we go. So that's the background. Quick question, how often do you stream? Because of my mental health, I do not know how often I stream. I'm planning to do more streams, but if it's like once a month or once a week, I do not know. So I cannot tell you, buddy. I'm sorry. I do upload these as videos as well. I'm going to make some tutorials, going to make some shorts of it. So there are multiple ways to watch this. But streaming is something that I'm not sure how often I do that. Sorry. Let's finish this. Let's work this in here. Oh, it's gonna be very light here. I learned from some other amazing artists here on YouTube that use the biggest brush that you can use. Like if you think I need to get into detail, so I'm going to use a little brush, don't. This, for example, has a very fine tip. That's where bye. Have a nice day. This brush has a very nice tip, so that means that if you have like big parts, you can do the big parts, and if you need to go into the nitty-gritty, you can use that little point to do that. But don't go too small with your brush. I used to do a lot with small brushes. Also, don't work in too much. Let it dry. I have even bigger brushes, but I am not used to them. So I moved in with my boyfriend into a home, so he got a lot of brushes, which I wasn't aware of because he is not a painter. But I got, for example, oh, don't fall. There we go. For example, I've got this brush. Very useful if you have to get a large area. But I have never used this brush before, so I need to test this one out in another project. This one is 20 millimeters. I have a very big brush. Probably need to do that with my bigger canvases. I also have, let me see, it's 11, I've got a 12 works. I also got this one. I think this is actually used for, oops, acrylic. Oh no, for acrylic and or oil point. But as you can see, this is also a 12-point brush. These are both 12 points. Can you see the difference? I usually use this one. And this is a new one. And as you can see, it's already broken. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that. I do think I might find this easier. But yeah. So these are other types of brushes that I haven't used yet. But take the biggest brush that you're comfortable with, try a bigger one, and use that for like the big pieces on your painting. Let me put this one back. There we go. Ooh. And these type of brushes are very all around. You can use them for all types of paintings. If you are starting out, some artists will tell you to use a flat brush, use a specific gaggy brush, use a very pointy brush for leaves, etc. If you like to work like me, if you think that's something that you want to work with, get different sizes of these point brushes for watercolor, because watercolor brushes need to contain a lot of water. So don't go for acrylic, don't go for like brushes that are meant for oil painting. Get watercolor brushes. Oh dear, I hear my cat. Let's just let this dry a little bit more. If I look at the, I can barely see it. Also, I think I need to close my curtains. There we go. Something's going wrong. Ah, something's going wrong. Oh well. That's a work in progress. A big work in progress. Oh well. I keep saying oh well. Also, if you want to learn watercolor and you've seen like 1,000 videos by now and you still don't know what to do, get books. The combination of seeing things live from someone who works with watercolors and then looking at the books where everything is shown step by step can really help. It helped me. For example, I have this one which says Creative Portraits in Aquarelle. It's in Dutch because I'm Dutch. I also have English and even Japanese. I can't read Japanese, but I have Japanese books. This one, like one of the things that if you want to start, oh my elbow, my goodness. If you want to start, this is a nice one because this does not only talk about watercolor art, what kind of paper you want to use and that kind of stuff. Also here like the pencils. It talks about colors, all kind of color combinations, how do you work with the colors, the techniques, how to layer, works with all that, and then it applies it as working with faces, so how to make portraits. So this is a very nice book. It's from Ana Santos, so I'm pretty sure this is also in English. Oh, Ana Santos, you don't have information about that. Oh yeah. Oh, it's printed in China, so probably in English. Yeah. Yeah, so the original title is Creative Portraits in Watercolor by Ana Santos. So this is a nice one if you want to start and also want to work with portraits. I want to create more portraits, even though it's not my favorite thing, because I know I usually like to create faces with flowers, faces with nature. I want to do that. So I'm also learning that. And of course I have a lot of books about botanical drawing because I like to draw flowers. So I have this one. This is only pencil, yeah, like black and white, but just this learns how to look at flowers, how to look at plants, how to deconstruct them basically. I really like that. So that one is that. I've got more art, the art of botanical painting. So this is about painting flowers. It's a lot of, but it says pencils, but also watercolor, gouache. It does a lot, and this looks a lot like what kind of color combinations do you need to use to have a more realistic painting? How do you create the leaf shapes? As you can see, I've put a tab in that. Drawing techniques, mainly, like how to construct the leaves of a flower or the petals of a flower. and there's a lot of like how to layer to create certain effects. So that's a pretty cool one. The Art of Botanical Painting by Margaret Stevens. And there is Creating Texture in Pen and Ink with Watercolor by Claudia Nice. Nice. I call her Nice. Oh yeah, I put my own. I put an old wheel in there. That was before I got them that many colors. And this one talks mainly about techniques to create, also pen and ink techniques, but also techniques to create like transparency. I really like the look of glass. I want to get more glass in there. Eyes, although I think eyes will be, you know, a bit more variation. Water, for example, although there are a lot of videos of great water paintings. Metallic impressions. I really need to reread that. I wanted that. Earth texture. So this is a lot about textures. I'm learning how to create a certain look. I have many more books about how to interpret light, how to create a certain type of atmosphere, how to create a composition, but these are the ones that I now have in my attic to work with watercolors. As you can see, also textiles. So fur to feathers, talking about like how to if you want to create fur, that is where a lot of work is in. Although you need to start with big pictures, and this one is particular with a lot of ink, so it's not how you create it with, you know, only watercolor. Oh, that's already skin and feathers. It's a really nice book by Claudia Nice if you want to really get into textures. Is there anything like crystals? I don't think so. I think they refer to glass. So if you go to transparency looks here, it's a lot of layering. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to get something. Okay, let me put this on here. Be right back. Ooh, it took a lot longer than I thought. Well, I'm back. It's not completely dry, but most of it is. Just think that there is a little bit of a pool. I'm going to erase here. It's not a problem because it actually creates a nice effect. The rest is about dry. So we can continue still with the 12 brush because I can. Do I have the... yeah, there we go. So normally reds have a bit of a gray but actually yellow undercoat, which probably I'm going to use yellow ochre for this one. I'm gonna prepare this. I'm going to create a little bit more of that. So, got it. What I call a tea-like consistency. I'm going to test it out here. It's a very light color. That's what I want. Because we start light. As you can see, because it is a complementary color to that purple color, it is a lot more vibrant than you would expect. Let's just put a yellow under here. The other one as well. And there. Don't forget the other powder. There. There's a little bit of leakage, but that's okay. Gonna do the ear as well. Probably forgot that paw here. So, there are two ways to go at it. You can start with a base layer, then put some accents in there, then do shadows and highlights, or actually the highlights you leave out. But you can also start with doing the shadows, because that's more of a blue or dark brown color. You can also work with a dark purple if you want to have that as a what you call as a shadow color. Now the background is already purple, so having purple in your shadow is a logical thing. Just don't do the granulating purple if you start with that purple. I think I'm going to use a combination of dark blue and purple just to get... So I'm putting ultramarine blue in here, which is already very dark. And then I put this dark purple in there, which was... I don't remember. I think Viridian? No. More like a violet kind of color. So we already have this. I'm going to dilute this a lot, otherwise it's going to be real strong shadow color. I want to work in layers. So if we get that one, we put it on here. As you can see, already a strong color in there. Maybe I dilute it just a little bit more. and I might use it as a shadow color in the gem in the middle as well. Yeah, that's a nice color combination. This, I'm not comfortable with this one anymore. It's too big for the shadows. So we're going to get a smaller brush. I've got a 10 here, which is almost the same. So I'm not doing that. I've also got I think this is an 8. It's already rubbed off. Probably an 8. So I'm going to work with the 8 now. And you have to be aware what you're doing, because the sun comes from here, right? The light source. Does it come from the front right or from the back right? So that's one thing you have to decide. One thing you can do is already go behind that little armpit here, going there. Also, there is a little bit of shadow under the chin. Probably there's a little shadow here. It comes from the right. There is a little bit of shadow, probably inside here as well. I just realized I forgot that part of the ear. Let's put a little shadow in that crease here. And then there is a gem in the way, so let's put a little bit of shadow with the gem. And if you're very careful, you can do, because it's from up, you can do the bottom part of that tail. If you think it's too sharp, get a little bit of water and just dilute it out. Just draw it out. Before I forget, because get that little ear there. Tiny bit of, just to have bottom of their face there, and here the bottom of their paws. The same with this one, but the light source is still from the same side, so we're going to put that one. There is light here. I also just realized that I forgot the ears. I keep forgetting to paint the ears. There we go. And I just realized that one is not an ear. That is a fluke. So we're trying to get rid of that by lifting the paint. Once it's dry, it's more difficult, but now it was wet, so we can still lift it off. A little bit of there. A little bit of purple in there. And once that's dried, and you want to have stronger, for example, you want more color in the creases, you go with the same Go again. Just go into the crease. You just build it up. And a lot of artists are like, you should put your whole brush in there, but if you just want to use the tip, you can only get the tip wet. There. Just going to put a little bit more blue in there. Just to get those creases done. You can see a little bit of a difference when I work with this more blue color. Blue color a bit in here just to darken that. Have a little bit more blue here. There. I think that's fine. If I keep them yellow, I will be fine. Oh, I just realized I said I wanted to do the gem as well. So, the gem. I actually need a small brush for this, because this is a bit more precise. So we're going for a unknown, probably 4 or 6. Anyway, doesn't matter. Actually get more blue in there because I'm going to do with it. Do the gem. What color shall we do the gem? Not purple, because that will be a waste. But what we can do is we have those lines that we drawn in. Those are lines that need to be darkened. And later on, with a white pen, we're going to accentuate those lines by drawing with white next to it. So we have that shimmer going in there. Now we're going to accentuate those lines that we draw. We're going to darken them. Yeah, maybe more dark. Bit more color there. Going to have another color, just cobalt blue. going to add this because I'm not going to do more layers there, so can use this. Don't use more than 3 colors, otherwise it gets really muddy. If you want muddy, that's okay, but it can really affect your painting. I want this color. And I'm going to add random spots because those are the spots that is like the back of those crystals. So I don't really care where I put them. Just be like, most of them are straight. Can darken some of them. Just be careful like that. So while that's drying, you can take a look at like what's going on. So now you made the first layer. The crystal has a lot of white because you want that shimmer in there. You want multiple colors to shine through. So there's still a lot of white in there. The reds are yellow underlayer with shadows blue purplish. Then there's a white here, here, and here. And the background itself is a granulating kind of dusk purple. So what do you want to do? If you want to be more realistic, you put those reds in brown or gray. Gray is a difficult color. Let's start with brown. Got multiple types of brown. So we have ochre, yellow ochre, which is brownish, yellow brownish. Then we have this brown, which is burnt sienna. And we have burnt umber. And the burnt umber is a nice dark and cool color. So be aware of that. So this is a cool color. This yellow is a warm color. So be aware. You rather want to mix warm with warm colors, right? But how do you get that darker? If you want to have a dark color, you mix it with another warm dark color if you have warm. This is now is very orange. So I have here Payne's Gray, which is a neutral color. So we put a little bit of Payne's Gray in there. To keep the color a warm brown, let's put a little bit more pigment in there. And just a tap of Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a very dominating color, so be aware of that. Yeah, let's start with this layer. So yeah, just little. I think this is the right color that I want. Okay. In order for fur, I rather work in splotches. So we go just splotch, 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 splotch. Don't forget to take the parts with you that you already have darkened because of the, you know, otherwise you have very weird colored paws. The paws and the tails are different color from the fur. Alright? You can use I can use a bigger brush, I think. The splashes. But I was a bit afraid that I couldn't. Splotch, 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 splotch. Because fur is not uniformly colored. So I don't do the tail because the tail is more of a skin color with reds. So you can I saw that the ears were less skin colored. Still skin colored, but you can splotch those a bit more. There. I think a dash of paint gray in there. Dash. To get more dark colors. More paint gray. Just keep it with those two. What's the color then? Yeah, that's a nice dark color. And keep in mind how fur behaves. So yes, you can splotch, but if you are beware, you can splotch in a certain direction. So it will go like this. So my splotches are now being directed. Let me see. This upside down mouse is a bit difficult because you need to be aware that it's upside down. It's not too bad. Just have a smidge of color on there. There. And the more detail you want, the smaller the brush. Also be aware that you need to layer dry on wet on dry. Right now it's a bit wet, so it doesn't form little hairs that you want yet. Put more color in here. I also want a little bit of purple. To dampen that. I should have gone for red, I guess, but it is a good color. Let me take a sip so it can dry a little bit. I'm actually putting a little bit more color in between the parts that are supposed to be darker. I'm not letting it dry too much right now. Should be better if I let it dry. This darker color is also ideal to get a bit more shadow in, to darken the shadows that you already had, but now instead of purple you're using like the brown color. But I want the back to be darker as well. For skin tone, I already have this color, right? So I'm gonna put a little bit of red in there. Just a little bit. And to deepen it, I'm going to get a little bit of blue. Just a little tiny bit. Just maybe a lick more. Put more red in there. Just to have that blush. Because you already have a yellow underpaint, you can work with a little bit more red and blue in there just to get that bit of a flesh tone. There. Also flesh tone. And there. The paws can be, it's more flesh tone as well. I made them already quite dark. There. I think I'm going to use like a smidge of pink also, get rid of that hair, to darken that tone bit. And because it's a red, I'm going to layer it like this, just to add a bit more texture. Just a bit more pink there, mix that well. I'm not gonna cover everything, I'm just going to put some highlights in there. There. While that's drying, I'm going to add a little bit more pigment in here. So maybe I'm not patient enough, that's for sure. Also, oh yeah, almost forgot that the noses are usually this color as well. There. Since we still have to wait, I think I'm going for blue with the crystal. So we're going really pigmented. We're going to add so you can layer, and right now I'm just putting in blue where there was white. Not everything has to be filled up. Oop. Putting a bit there. Okay, and now I need to have a bit more control, so I'm going to dilute it. I have a little bit of another color in there, which is okay. Also, I'm not going to fill everything with the blue because I like that some parts are white. That means that there is extra shine. Just fill in big parts. Like that. And now we get that ultramarine in. No, this is cobalt. Sorry. Cobalt, yeah, a strong cobalt color. And mix it in. The thing with gems is that they are so diverse and they can have so many different colors. Just experiment with it. Just be aware that if you leave a lot of white, it looks like it shimmers more. You can just dab, make shapes wherever you want. Get some ultramarine in there, just to darken there. Like there are dark parts. There. Okay, this needs to dry. So we're going to focus our attention to something else. which is this part. One of the things that I love to do is work with metallic, which means it needs a certain background color. If you want silver, which I think is the most appropriate color, black is, or Payne's Gray is a great color to just fill this all in. So I'm going to go very dark Payne's Gray. And I'm going to use a small brush because I want to have a lot of details in there. I'm going to paint this black. Or Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is almost black. It's very dark. I need to use more water, that's for sure. Let's fill this one up. There we go. Let's mix this up and get there. I'm not able yet to do an entire circle like this. Would be nice. There. That is very expressive already if I look in the video. Then we also put the outer layer in this Paint Gray. So we're going to, I think I need a bigger brush. Yeah, I need a bigger brush. I like the, let's do the 10 here. Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so let's do these outlines. I'm all doing this in silver, so that's why everything now is going to be Paint Gray. Okay, now we do this one. Can be a bit more intense. There we go. This can go like this. Yeah. I sometimes forget that I need to do the other side as well. As you can see, it is a little bit wider than I sketched it. If you're wondering how I do this, I apply a certain pressure with the brush. So the harder you press, the more of the brush will be on the paper, and the softer you press, the less. So if you press very softly, you only have like the tip. If you press harder, there's more of the brush on the paper, so that will be a thicker stroke. So if you start very lightly, like here, and then apply more pressure slowly. Oh, it doesn't want to work with me right now. But slowly build up the pressure until you have reached the width that you want. There. Another method to create a wider stroke is to angle your brush. Also angle and pressure. And if you've never done this before, it takes a little bit of practice. So practice like how much pressure you put on your brush. And I don't want to boast, but I was in Japan in 2018, and there was this, we went with the group to some area where they were like doing brushwork, and you could do something as well. And a lot of people were struggling with putting the ink on paper, and I was there, and I just immediately went like, because I had so many hours like making watercolors, making art, and I don't know if it's just politeness, because Japanese culture is extremely different from Dutch culture, but they seemed really impressed by what I made, so that was really cute. That was really nice. So, the inside of these circles. Wonder what color I want to put in there, because we have purple, we have yellow slash brownish, we have blue. So let me see on the color wheel, right? Yeah, so we have this one. So we have, if we take like, let's take violet, because that's the main color we have in our, or blue violet. That's the main color we have in the background, right? So the complementary color is yellow orange. If we put it in split complementary, you got orange and yellow. Ooh. If you go tertiary here, you are able to use red, orange, and green, yellow, green. And tetrad would be completely different, because then you would have it like this. So then blue violet here, tetrad would be yellow green, then you would have yellow orange and red violet, but we don't want that. Let's put here this one. This is just if you add, yeah. So we want this one, so the key color, right? So if we go to the third red, we can go with green. Green and red orange. Although I don't want to add the red orange with the green because that's too Christmassy. I don't want that. So we can put greenish colors in here and have the more yellow orange, or what I call as a yellow, as an accent in there. And it is very warm colored though, and I want to use silver. So we need to have the more lemon, and oh, I have an aqua green. Let's put the aqua green there. Two-tone shade. So we keep it cooler colors, while the reds themselves are the warmer colors. Put it there. Turquoise green, that's what the color was, turquoise green. There. So I want the 10, yeah. So we're going to use this specific color. I'm going to swatch it for you guys so you can see what it's like. Another. There. So this is very nice. It's a turquoise green, almost bluish color. I'm also gonna drop that in here, by the way. It's a nice color. Oops. Get that harmony in there. That's a nice color. I'm going to dilute it a bit, or put a little bit more intensity at least. There. Going to get the outside. Oh, that really pops. It's not bright blue, so it's not too shocking, but it is a nice color there. Aquamarine, turquoise green. And I'm discussing with myself if I want this one the same color. I think so, because otherwise it will be a bit too much. Got too much, or I better drop it in the crystal. There. We let that dry, and now we should have an almost dry red, so we can, yeah, we can put that one there. There we go. Get that illusion of texture. Just be very loose with it. And like I said, this is an illusion, so the way it is layered means that you can see the idea. I'm not going to go like picture perfect for this. I've seen artists using their own hairs or in the hair of a cat to get those hairs on the painting. I'm like, no, not for me, thank you. That's a bit too much detail for me. But the idea of hairs is nice. Especially here up. And on the back, give me some more here. I don't know how much you can see of this. Also, there's some blue leaking into the tail. It's a shame, but actually it looks very cool. Then we have our lemony yellow that I still wanted to use. A very nice contrast with the blue green. There's a little bit of spillage there. You know what? I'm going to paint this yellow as well. And this as well. There. I'm going to put a little more paint gray in here, which is a lot more than I expected because I reread the painted gray. That's a shame. I think I'm going to stop painting the reds. The only thing that I need to do before I forget is get the eyes of the reds. There. Now they can see, that's nice. Don't know where this is from. Oh yeah, I know. Okay. I actually made this a bit too much. So I'm going to get rid of it. I think I'm going to keep the rest like this, and what I'm going to do, this is very strong paper. Oh, and I can really get that. Okay, so going to let this dry, at least the reds. There, you need to get that one out as well. There we go. Going to get my metallics here. I'm going. What time is it actually? It's getting really late. I'm getting my silver. My 10 here. Getting that in there. Also wanted my silver, remember? So I'm going to get the silver. This is already dry, so we can paint over this. Very nicely. Not very easy to show on the camera, I see. Maybe because it doesn't catch the light. It's very bright, the way I see it. This is easier to see. Let me get a bit more water. Might need another layer. Sometimes you just need more layers. I also have this color, which is a bit darker. So let's put this one with a little bit of the darker one in there. A little bit more pigment in there. Okay. It's getting really late for me right now. So this was the drawing and painting bit. I think I'm going to use a lot more line art with this one because I want to get those hairs in and I want to create more expression that way. So I'm going to do that in another stream. So not today. I'm already did 2.5 hours and I think that's a good time to stop right now. Thank you so much for watching me, for subscribing if you have subscribed, and I also want to give a little shout out to my Ko-fi page. I am doing this very irregularly, but I am planning to do a bit more like behind the scenes stuff, trying to get particular tutorials out. If you want to have a certain tutorial of how I do a certain painting, please put them in the comments. If you donate to my Ko-fi, everything will go to my art. So I will buy other brushes, I will buy new watercolor paper. This watercolor paper is almost, the package is almost done, so I need to get a new package soon. Maybe another camera, maybe a better microphone for the setup. Anyway, every dollar, every euro goes to there. You can donate one time, and like €1 is, or $1 is actually great. You can also become a monthly member on Ko-fi and you will get more behind the scenes, you will get more ideas there and shout outs. So that is what I'm planning on there. For now, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, and see you another time, my fellow artisans, my fellow jellyfish. Goodbye and see you soon.